Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience, Manifest Your Truth. And I don't know why anybody would be anywhat surprised by what is taking place with Puffy all of a sudden over the last few weeks. And even with Suge Knight, who's doing a 28-year sentence. Ever since the early 90s, when the record companies start using these black labels as subsidiaries to sign black artists, especially in rap music, because evidently they didn't want the artists, because if that was the case, they would have signed them directly to Universal, like they did Nelly or Tupac originally when he was signed to Interscope. We, with any rational mind and level head of thinking, and I'm in my mid-50s, so I saw all of this take place, who in the world would have ever thought that Death Row, Bad Boy, Murder Inc., Rough Riders, just look at the names of these record labels. I mean, you're going in and you're signing with a company that has a negative name and image to it from the very beginning. I mean, if you looked at it from a traditional standpoint of going to college and getting a job, would you be happy to say to your parents, hey, I just signed with Death Row. I just signed with Murder Inc. And to see is, in today's time, as the end result, Death Row is defunct. CEO is in the penitentiary for 28 years. Sean Puffy Combs with Bad Boy is in a plethora of hot water with the sexual misconduct allegations that are being cast at him today. But here again, all we have to do, utilize your five senses. Who would want to sign to a company? And you're an employee when you sign a record deal to Bad Boy. Listen to the words. Words have power. To Death Row. To Murder Inc. Look what happened to Murder Inc. There was a federal investigation. Feds came in and shut down Irv Gotti, his brother Chris Gotti's record label. We as black people have to get away from promoting denigrating, debauchery, negative imagery, negative music. This has gone on since the late 80s with the advent of the crack epidemic, the high promotion of gang violence and gang membership in LA and in Chicago. And then you come with gangster rap music. And of course, as I said, the white record labels, the Warner Brothers, the Universals, the Interscopes, they didn't want that to be the face of their record company. So what did they do? They allowed black subsidiary labels, which the white major companies financed, allowed these subsidiary companies to exist, and then shoved all of this denigrating rap music up under the umbrella of those kinds of labels like Bad Boy, Death Row, Murder Inc., for example. And look at these companies today, and even their executives, their CEOs, every one of them has been in trouble. From Irv Gotti, federal investigation, shut down Murder Inc., now Puffy, Suge Knight, who was subsidiary to Interscope with Jimmy Iovine. There's blood on both hands, on the white major labels and on the subsidiary black labels. There's blood on both parties. But we have continuously allowed, so you had a three-tier situation. You have the white record companies, which is the puppet master. You have the black labels, which is the puppeteer. And then you had the black artists as the puppets. So you had a three-tier system that was taking place that promoted all of this negative imagery and music. You don't see it at all in any of these white country record companies, pop record companies, artists. We're the only race of people that promotes negative imagery, self-hatred, self-debauchery, The music is getting even worse to this day. Chicago drill music, these other artists that are out today, Sexy Red. We're advocating getting the bag by any means necessary, no matter how immoral and unethical it is. And at some point, maybe middle-aged black folks, African Americans, need to say enough is enough. Let's do something positive. Let's go back to the 70s. We're going to school, going to get an education, getting a trade, having a conventional lifestyle, and a job and a family orientation is what's most important. And and then when you compare and contrast the names of the labels, I'm gonna keep saying it again: Death Row, Bad Boy, versus a name like Interscope, Universal, Warner Brothers. It's a little softening on the ears to hear I signed the Warner Brothers versus I signed the Murder Inc. And then to be proud of it and to promote it. And then none of the artists came out of there rich. They got abused by their own people. The black record label owners abused the black artists. Everybody suing everybody. Nobody got rich from Death Row. Nobody got rich from Bad Boy. Nobody got rich and wealthy from Murder Inc. They were all being used and abused by their own race. People that look just like them. Is no different than what there's this gun violence and these assaults that are taking place in our urban markets. Most of this violence is taking place from people that look just like me, or my son, or my nephew, or your son or nephew. And at some point, we need to make it stop. This is not what Dr. Martin Luther King talked about in the civil rights movement. And if he was alive today, he would be ashamed. And we need to abolish all of this negative imagery, all of this negative music, all of this negative television program that makes African Americans look bad. So, utilize your 5 senses. Words have power. Murder Inc. means just what it says. Death Row means just what it says. Bad Boy means just what it says. Let's get away from that and come up with some positive imagery, some positive names, some positive businesses that can be sustainable, that can be generational, and they can move us as a race forward without the helping hand of the white government or anybody else. Let's be self-sustaining and help and love and promote and manifest our truth in the right way with each other.